Jack Cooper was the most spectacularly average man on planet Earth, which is precisely why the aliens picked him. The Galactic Council, in their infinite wisdom, had decided that when meeting a new species, they would select a perfectly median specimen to represent humanity's capabilities. Unfortunately for everyone involved, Jack had been picked while nursing a wicked hangover after his friend's bachelor party. "And you're absolutely sure you want me?" Jack had asked the holographic alien that materialized in his living room at 6:43 a.m. on a Tuesday. "Not like the president? Or Beyoncé?" The alien, who resembled something between a jellyfish and a chandelier, had blinked its 17 eyes in sequence. "Our scans indicate you represent the precise mathematical average of human capability, intelligence, and social standing. You are the perfect diplomatic specimen." Which is how Jack Cooper, middle management marketing specialist with 3 months of back pain and $27,000 in student loan debt, became the first human to board the Galactic Council's mothership. The council chamber resembled a massive amphitheater, with representatives from over 300 species arranged in tiered seating. Jack stood on a floating platform in the center, fighting the urge to throw up from both the zero gravity and the overwhelming reality that he, a man who once got his head stuck in his own sweater for 20 minutes, was representing all of humanity. "Welcome, Primitive One," boomed the council elder, a 12-foot-tall insectoid creature whose mandibles clicked with each syllable. "We are most intrigued by your species' rapid development, from hurling rocks to basic spaceflight in merely 20,000 years, quite precocious, like watching an infant learn to crawl." Jack cleared his throat. "Thank you for the compliment. I think Earth is honored to join the galactic community." "Oh, you misunderstand," chortled another council member, who appeared to be a sentient gas cloud contained in an ornate vase. "You haven't joined anything. You're here to receive guidance. Your species is far too young to participate in council decisions." "Right," Jack said, forcing a smile. "We're just happy to be considered. Though we have made some decent achievements. You know, we've cured most cancers, developed quantum computing, created artificial intelligence." The gas cloud made a sound like a balloon deflating. "How quaint. Our younglings create quantum computers as school projects. And your artificial intelligence," added a crystalline being, "still requires hardware. Positively medieval." For the next hour, Jack endured what amounted to the galaxy's most condescending TED Talk, as council members took turns explaining how primitive humans were. They used metaphors involving infants, paramecia, and in one particularly insulting case, a species of fungus known for growing on excrement. Jack was doing fine, smile and nod until they brought up coffee. "And these stimulants you consume," said the insectoid elder, "particularly this coffee substance, highly concerning. A clear sign of neurochemical instability." As a man who had consumed approximately 17,000 cups of coffee in his lifetime, Jack felt personally attacked. "Actually," he said, "coffee is good for you. It's got antioxidants." The chamber fell silent. The elder's mandibles froze mid-click. "You disagree with the council's assessment?" The gas cloud expanded ominously. At this point, any reasonable diplomat would have backed down. Unfortunately, Jack was running on 2 hours of sleep and withdrawal from the very substance under debate. "Look," Jack said, "I'm just saying coffee isn't a sign of neurochemical instability. It's delicious. And without it, half our planet's productivity would collapse." "The primitive argues for its dependency," exclaimed a council member shaped like a geometric nightmare. "This confirms our assessment." "Are you saying," Jack continued, his sleep-deprived brain bypassing all caution, "that none of you use stimulants? Because that floating jellyfish guy over there is vibrating at a frequency that suggests otherwise." The jellyfish chandelier alien froze mid-vibration. By the time Jack realized his error, it was too late. Apparently, he had just accused a council member of partaking in what was, apparently, the galactic equivalent of hard drugs. The ensuing diplomatic catastrophe took 17 hours to resolve, during which Jack learned that the vibrating alien was actually engaged in cellular reproduction, a deeply sacred and private act, and that questioning a council member's sobriety was punishable by disintegration in 42 star systems. By the time Jack was allowed to return to Earth, the council had imposed a comprehensive set of guidance protocols on humanity. 1. Earth was forbidden from expanding beyond its solar system. 2. All human technological advancement would require council approval. 3. Regular inspections would ensure compliance. 4. A council advisory team would be permanently stationed on Earth. Consider yourselves under beneficial observation, the elder said, like a parent watching a toddler near a sharp object. As his return pod hurtled toward Earth, Jack cradled his face in his hands. Well, he muttered to himself, at least things can't get worse. The pod's AI interface chirped helpfully. Actually, historical data suggests that statement is incorrect 97.3% of the time. The United Nations Security Council emergency session was going about as well as could be expected when discussing potential alien overlordship. So let me get this straight, said the British representative, massaging his temples. You told an advanced alien civilization that their sacred reproductive ritual looked like they were high on space drugs? Jack shifted uncomfortably in his seat. In my defense, it really did look like that. The room erupted into a cacophony of multilingual outrage. The Secretary General banged her gavel repeatedly. What matters now, she said when order was restored, is how we respond to these guidance protocols. Mr. Cooper, despite your unconventional diplomacy, you are now the only human with direct council experience. Wait, Jack said, panic rising. You're not seriously keeping me as the representative? I literally caused this mess. Precisely why you're perfect, said the Russian representative with a wolfish grin. The aliens think we're idiots anyway. Might as well send an authentic idiot. I prefer diplomatic innovator, Jack muttered. The doors to the chamber burst open, and in strode a woman with the posture of someone who had never doubted a decision in her life. Her military uniform bore the insignia of a commander, and her close-cropped hair and sharp eyes gave her the look of someone who could win a staring contest with a statue. Commander Victoria Rodriguez, she announced, dropping a thick folder onto the table. United States Space Force. I've analyzed the Council's protocols, and I have observations. Please, Commander, the Secretary General gestured to an empty seat. Share your insights. Dory remained standing. These aliens think we're stupid. They've announced their superiority and imposed restrictions that would cripple our development. Standard colonizer tactics, just on a galactic scale. She pulled up a holographic display showing the Council's mothership schematics. Their technology is advanced, yes, but not incomprehensible. Their psychological approach, however, is telling. They expect deference, compliance, gratitude for their guidance. She made air quotes with enough sarcasm to power a small city. What would you suggest, Commander? Asked the Chinese representative. Tori's lips curved into what technically qualified as a smile, though it contained nothing resembling warmth. When I was in training, my drill sergeant had a saying, if they think you're stupid, be so stupid they regret noticing you. Jack blinked. You want us to play dumb? I want us to practice malicious compliance on a galactic scale, Tori corrected. They want to guide us? Fine. We'll follow their guidance so precisely, so literally, that they'll beg us to start thinking for ourselves again. The Secretary General leaned forward. Commander Rodriguez, are you suggesting we intentionally annoy an advanced alien confederation into respecting us? I'm suggesting we use their own condescension as a weapon, Tori replied. If they want primitive humans, we'll give them primitive humans with the Silicon Valley startup's ability to disrupt established systems. Jack found himself nodding along. I called an alien a space junkie and lived to tell about it. I'm pretty sure we can pull this off. The French representative sighed deeply. Mon Dieu. We're putting the fate of humanity in the hands of a man with a hangover and a commander who wants to irritate aliens into submission. Do you have a better idea? Tori asked. The silence was deafening. Operation Playing Dumb it is, the Secretary General declared with resignation. May whatever gods exist have mercy on us all. The Council's advisory team arrived 3 weeks later, a collection of 7 aliens who looked equal parts baffled and smug as they established their headquarters in Geneva. Their leader, Ambassador Crix of the Valerian Hive, resembled a 6-limbed praying mantis in a bespoke suit, with translucent wings that caught the light like stained glass. Jack greeted them with what the UN media team had assured him was an appropriately humble smile. "Welcome to Earth. We're so excited for your guidance. We've cleared our schedules to absorb your wisdom morning, noon, and night. No breaks necessary." Ambassador Crix's mandibles twitched. "That won't be required. We will provide instructional sessions at regular intervals." "Oh, but we insist," Jack said, beaming like a child promised ice cream. "In fact, we've arranged accommodations for you right next to our largest particle accelerator. The humming is quite soothing once you get used to it." The advisory team's first directive came the following day. Earth was to reduce its carbon emissions by implementing more efficient energy technologies already standard throughout the galaxy. "Of course," Jack agreed enthusiastically during the public broadcast. "We'll start immediately." What followed was a master class in taking instructions too literally. Earth's governments began replacing all carbon-based energy with the alien-provided alternatives, starting with military bases, communications arrays, and most critically, the advisory team's headquarters. The alien technology worked perfectly. Too perfectly. Without the minor inefficiencies humans had built into their systems to prevent power surges, the new generators delivered 143% more power than Earth's grid was designed to handle. The results were spectacular, in the most catastrophic sense of the word. "I don't understand," Jack said innocently as the advisory team's compound experienced its 17th blackout in 3 days. "We followed your specifications exactly." Ambassador Crix's eye stalks quivered with barely contained frustration. "You were supposed to adapt the technology to your infrastructure, not implement it blindly." "Oh," Jack exclaimed, "you wanted us to think for ourselves? We thought that would be presumptuous." Meanwhile, in a subterranean laboratory beneath MIT, Dr. Maxwell Thornton was having the time of his life. With wild white hair that seemed to defy gravity and a fashion sense that suggested he dressed in the dark while philosophizing about quantum mechanics, Dr. Thornton had been Earth's leading xenotechnologist for all of the 3 weeks the position had existed. "Fascinating," he mumbled, as he dissected a piece of alien circuitry. "Simply fascinating. They're using quantum entanglement for their processing, but their error correction is absolute rubbish." Commander Rodriguez looked over his shoulder. "Can you exploit it?" Maxwell grinned, his glasses sliding halfway down his nose. "My dear Commander, I already have. These circuits have an exploitable vulnerability. They can't handle our primitive, chaotic approach to coding. It's like trying to teach calculus to someone who's deliberately misunderstanding addition." "And that helps us how?" Tori asked. "Because," Maxwell said, gleefully connecting a wire to what appeared to be a toaster with extra parts, "and I've created a translation matrix that lets us understand their technology perfectly while making our technology completely incomprehensible to them." "You've created a one-way Rosetta Stone," Jack said, impressed. "I prefer to call it my cosmic confusion generator," Maxwell replied. "Now watch." He activated the device. Immediately, every alien communication device within 50 meters began translating English into what sounded like a mix of opera singing and belching. The next day, the advisory team issued a directive regarding Earth's hazardously unpredictable wireless communications. Jack responded by organizing a global initiative to follow their guidance, resulting in humans worldwide simultaneously switching to new protocols that caused the aliens' universal translators to convert all human languages into what sounded like aggressive yodeling. After a week of increasingly frantic directives and increasingly disastrous compliance, Ambassador Crix cornered Jack in a hallway. "What?" the alien hissed, antennae vibrating with suppressed rage. "Is wrong with your species?" Jack blinked innocently. "Wrong. But we're following your guidance to the letter." "That's precisely the problem. No species has ever been so. Obedient? Jack suggested. Infuriating. Crick snapped. Jack hid a smile. Phase 1 was working perfectly. On the mothership hovering just beyond Luna orbit, the Galactic Council was in disarray. "The humans are impossible," declared Ambassador Crix, his holographic projection flickering with agitation. "They implement our directives without any critical thought, causing cascading failures across their systems." "Surely they can't be that incompetent," said Council Elder Zix, mandibles clicking thoughtfully. "Their technological development, while primitive, suggests basic problem-solving abilities." "Perhaps," suggested the gaseous Counselor Nebulox, "they are not as foolish as they appear." "Nonsense," scoffed a crystalline being. "Next you'll suggest their coffee is actually a sophisticated cognitive enhancer." Back on Earth, Jack and Tori were in the middle of what had become a daily ritual, reviewing the increasingly desperate communiques from various council members. "Listen to this one," Jack said, reading from his tablet. "Humans must cease implementing guidance protocol BR 549 regarding waste management, as it has resulted in 17 distinct biohazard events. They sound like they're about to have aneurysms. Do aliens get aneurysms?" Tori's lips twitched in what might have been a smile. "The Acridian delegates actually do. 3 eyes and a proboscis, apparently." "We're making progress," Jack said. "But we need to push harder. The compliance strategy is working, but too slowly." As if on cue, Dr. Thornton burst into the room, lab coat singed and hair even wilder than usual. "I've done it," he declared, brandishing what looked like a television remote with extra buttons. "I've reverse-engineered their scanning technology." "That's good?" Jack ventured. "It's revolutionary," Maxwell exclaimed. "Their scanners are designed to classify and categorize everything according to their understanding of physics. I've modified ours to scramble their readings without them realizing it." Tori raised an eyebrow. "Meaning?" "Meaning," Maxwell said with undisguised glee, "that when they scan our technology, they'll get readings suggesting we're simultaneously more primitive and more advanced than we actually are. Their data will be absolute gibberish, but internally consistent gibberish, so they won't be able to tell it's wrong." Jack whistled. "Dr. Thornton, have I mentioned lately that you're terrifying in the best possible way?" Meanwhile, the Council had decided drastic measures were necessary. They dispatched their most experienced xenoanthropologists to Earth to conduct field research and determine what exactly was wrong with humanity. The results were not comforting. Humans, reported lead researcher Plex, appear to possess a unique cognitive dissonance that defies classification. They simultaneously understand complex quantum physics principles and yet fail to successfully operate simple lever mechanisms we provided for their waste disposal systems. "Could they be doing this intentionally?" asked a council member. "Impossible," responded another. "To deliberately cause such chaos would require a level of coordinated strategic thinking beyond their capabilities." Lead researcher Plex hesitated. "There is another possibility. Our preliminary findings suggest humans may have evolved in an environment so chaotic that they developed a high tolerance for what we would consider system failure." "Meaning?" "Meaning they might thrive on disruption," Plex said. "Their historical records show consistent patterns of creating problems, solving them innovatively, then immediately creating new problems from their solutions." Ambassador Crix's hologram flickered agitatedly. "Yesterday, I observed a human child deliberately constructing a tower of blocks specifically to knock it down. When asked why, the child said, and I quote, 'Because it's fun to watch it fall.' This behavior may be endemic to their species." The council chambers fell silent as the implications sank in. "Perhaps," the elder finally said, "we should reconsider our approach to guidance." The summons to appear before the full Galactic Council came without warning. One moment Jack was in his office reviewing the latest brilliantly disastrous implementation of alien farming techniques. Who knew that introducing Beldovian self-replicating fertilizer to Earth's soil would create bouncing carrots? The next he was standing on the familiar floating platform in the council chamber. This time, however, the atmosphere was decidedly frostier. Human Cooper, intoned the elder, mandibles clicking with unmistakable irritation. The Council has reviewed the past 3 Earth months of guidance protocol implementation. Great, Jack said brightly. We've been working super hard to follow your wise directives. That, hissed the elder, is precisely the issue. In 2,000 years of galactic guidance programs, no species has ever caused such widespread disruption while technically adhering to protocols. The gas cloud counselor expanded ominously. Your implementation of our waste management system created a substance that achieved sentience for 17 minutes. We call him Gloopy, Jack said. He likes jazz. A ripple of what might have been horror passed through the assembled aliens. Enough. The elder's voice boomed through the chamber. The Council has reached a unanimous decision. Humanity must cease its disruptive behavior immediately or face severe consequences. Jack tilted his head. Disruptive? But we've been following your guidance exactly as written. You have been deliberately misinterpreting. Show me where we deviated from your specifications, Jack interrupted, pulling out a tablet. Here's Directive CR 27 billion regarding agricultural modifications. You said, and I quote, implement Beldovian nutrient cycles to maximize crop yield. We did exactly that. The directive clearly implied adapting the technology to Earth's biosphere. Did it, though? Jack scrolled through the document. Because I'm not seeing the word adapt anywhere. Seems like a pretty important word to leave out when dealing with, what did you call us? Primitive newcomers? The chamber fell silent. The ultimatum stands, the elder finally said. Earth will submit to direct Council oversight, or face isolation from galactic resources. Jack straightened his shoulders, all pretense of cheerful incompetence vanishing. Let me tell you something about humans, elder. We spent most of our history isolated on a single planet thinking we were alone in the universe. During that time, we split the atom, mapped our genome, landed on our moon, and created both reality television and donut-flavored breakfast cereal. Isolation doesn't scare us. It's where we do our best work. He advanced to the edge of his platform. You've been testing us, measuring us, guiding us, but you never once asked us what we wanted or needed. You assumed your way was better because it's older. But here's the thing about being young, we haven't settled into our ways yet. We're adaptable. And while you've been busy being condescending, we've been busy learning. Jack pulled out what looked like a small remote-controlled Dr. Thornton's device and pressed a button. Throughout the chamber, alien technologies flickered momentarily as the scrambler activated. Data readouts changed, security protocols hiccuped, and for just a split second, the entire Council mothership acknowledged Jack as its commander. That was a demonstration, Jack said calmly as the systems reset. A temporary glitch that our primitive species somehow managed to create in your perfect technologies. Imagine what we could do if we actually tried to be disruptive. The elder's mandibles clicked rapidly. Are you threatening the Council? I'm offering perspective, Jack corrected. You can try to isolate us. You can try to control us. Or you can recognize that humanity doesn't need a parent watching a toddler near sharp objects. We need partners who respect that sometimes the toddler sees something the parent missed. He pocketed the device. Your move, Council. The negotiation lasted 3 Earth days, during which time Jack consumed enough alien stimulants finally to keep a small army awake. Commander Rodriguez and Dr. Thornton joined via holographic projection, offering tactical and technical input respectively. By the time it was over, Jack was exhausted but triumphant. So let me confirm, the elder said, mandibles clicking with what might have been grudging respect. Earth accepts limited Council oversight, but maintains autonomy over its technological development and eventual expansion beyond its solar system. With the understanding that we'll share any innovations that might benefit the galactic community, Jack agreed. And in exchange, humans gain full access to galactic trade networks, information exchanges, and diplomatic representation. Including our own seat on the Council within 10 years, Jack added. Non-negotiable. The elder's compound eyes seemed to narrow. though Jack wasn't sure if that was anatomically possible. Very well. The Council recognizes Earth as a probationary member of the Galactic Confederation, with all rights and responsibilities therein. As the agreement was formalized, Counselor Nebulox drifted over to Jack. You never were as primitive as you pretended, the gaseous being observed. Jack shrugged. We never claimed to be. You just assumed it, and we leaned into your expectations. A cunning strategy. Deceptive but cunning. We prefer to call it creative problem-solving, Jack replied. It's kind of our thing. 6 months later, Jack found himself in an alien bar on Proxima Centauri's largest space station, nursing a drink that changed color every time he looked away. Beside him sat an Arcturian trader with 4 arms and a voice like gravel being massaged. You're from Earth? The trader asked, mandibles widening in what Jack had come to recognize as surprise. The human homeworld? Born and raised, Jack confirmed. The Arcturian made a sound like chuckling stones. I heard about your species. They say when the Valerians tried to implement standard guidance protocols, humans caused so much chaos they nearly crashed the Council's central database. Exaggerated, Jack said modestly. We only crashed 3 subsystems. Still, the trader leaned in conspiratorially. Now everyone in the galaxy uses pulling a human when they mean doing something crazy that somehow works. Jack nearly choked on his color-changing drink. They what? Oh yes. Last trading cycle I was negotiating with Xillian merchants over deuterium prices. They wouldn't budge, so finally I said, fine, I'll pull a human, and deliberately misinterpreted their contract terms. They surrendered immediately. Jack couldn't help but laugh. That's surprisingly flattering. Your species has quite the reputation now, the Arcturian continued. The Council even changed their guidance protocols for all new species. They now explicitly state that all directives should be reviewed for potential human-style interpretations before implementation. On the view screen above the bar, a news broadcast showed the latest Council meeting. There, prominently seated among the galactic representatives, was Commander Victoria Rodriguez, Earth's official Council member. Beside her sat Dr. Thornton, looking only slightly less disheveled in his formal attire, serving as Earth's scientific liaison. We earned our place, Jack said, raising his glass to the screen. Indeed, the Arcturian agreed. Though I must ask, was it all an act? The incompetence, the misinterpretations? Jack smiled enigmatically. Let me tell you something about humans. We're smart enough to play dumb when necessary, but we're also definitely dumb enough to occasionally stumble into brilliance. The line between genius and idiocy is razor thin for our species, and we've made an art form of dancing on that line. The Arcturian considered this. That is simultaneously comforting and terrifying. Welcome to humanity, Jack said, clinking his glass against the Arcturian's. We specialize in being both. Back on Earth, in what had once been the Alien Advisory Headquarters and was now the Interspecies Cultural Exchange Center, a plaque hung on the wall. It bore a simple inscription that had become something of a mantra for human diplomats throughout the galaxy. Never mistake politeness for weakness, nor condescension for wisdom. And if all else fails, remember, sometimes the best way to earn respect is to stop asking for help and start making them fear what happens when you actually try. Underneath, someone almost certainly Dr. Thornton had scrawled an addition in permanent marker. P.S. Coffee helps.